Is cereal a soup?
No, I would say it's more like minestrone.
Which is a soup. I found you just enthralling.
I was the sort of trifecta of Mick Hucknall, Susan Boyle and Annie the Orphan. That's what I looked like then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good look.
So I did it for her. I like helped her pour in an attempt to prove that like I was fine with her being with my ex-boyfriend.
That is pretty bad. Bonjour and guten tag, and welcome back to Food-fessions, the show where I get an array of guests on and ask them questions to find out their food truths and their food fibs. I'm here with comedian, podcaster, and actually director, Grace Campbell. So we'll get stuck in. Late to the party, podcast.
Podcast?
You haven't had me on it yet.
No, but you are going to come on.
I've been saying straight white men on podcasts needs to be a thing.
I've had 3.
3 straight white men.
I mean, 2 of them are my dad and Rory Stewart, so that's up for debate.
Who would be your dream guest on the podcast?
My dream guest on the podcast would be Miriam Margolyes. I think she'd have cracking stories, and she's at a point in her life now where she doesn't hold back.
What, in your opinion, is the superior tinned food?
I'm gonna have to say tuna, but I will say when you start to deep it and think about the fact that that fish probably was murdered like 15 years ago, it's quite disgusting.
You don't eat a lot of meat and therefore cannot eat fry-ups. What's the perfect veggie fry-up?
Hash brown is my favourite form of potato. So I would say like loads of hash browns, veggie sausages, they're fine. Scrambled eggs, but they have to be like so slow cooked, very wet. Sourdough bread, loads of beans, lots of hot sauce. Mushrooms. Yeah.
Roasted tomato?
No, I hate roasted tomatoes so much. The consistency is I do not like it.
Worst date you've ever been on?
I once went on a date where it was right after the Brexit referendum. The guy that I was on a date with said that he hadn't voted in the referendum, and I was like, oh, why? And he was like, well, because I'll just vote in it next year. So I looked at my phone and I was like, oh my God, my best friend just gone into labour!
What's the most awkward food to eat in front of other people?
You know, my go-to snack is a cucumber, right? So when I'm out and about, I'll just go and buy a cucumber. I just go to the shop and then I pour water on it, and then I'll just walk along the street eating a cucumber.
You pour water on it?
To clean it.
I don't think I'm in a condom anyway.
Stir, there's dirt on it.
Probably why I have such bad diarrhea all the time. I love cucumber. I want to go through the alphabet with you and see how many food items you can name in 35 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Apple, banana, carrot, Danish pastries.
That's 2 words.
Okay, well, it still counts. Eggs, frankfurter, green beans. What comes after G? H. Haricot vert. Ice. You can eat ice. H-I-J, J, what the hell? Jam. Kale. Legumes. Mace. Nectarines.
Yeah.
Oranges.
Yeah.
Peas.
Yeah.
Q.
Okay, you failed, but I think that's pretty good. Quinoa, obviously. 3 questions that I think are quite important and do often yield heated debates. Firstly, how do you make the perfect cup of tea?
It's difficult because I drink oat milk, so that kind of f***s tea up.
We've hit a hurdle immediately. Where does ketchup belong?
Ketchup belongs in the fridge, and then on my table, and then all over my chips. My dad has a phobia of ketchup, so I grew up, we weren't allowed to have it in the house. It's got that name. Hey Siri, what is the word for people who have a phobia of ketchup? Mortusquescophobia, it's a hard word to say.
There's 2 used twice. Mortusquescophobia.
Yeah. If there's ketchup at the table, he faints, my dad.
Perfect meal deal starting with the drink.
A Diet Coke.
Okay.
Then I would get an egg and cress sandwich and I'd put barbecue beef hula hoops in it.
If aliens landed and asked you to explain the concept of dessert, what dessert would you offer them?
I f***ing love a tiramisu. So I would give them a tiramisu.
Sorry, Grace. It's a lie detector.
Oh, okay.
And it works. It works. So I'm going to actually start asking some really quite personal questions as well.
Fine.
I'll just throw them in amongst it. You once accidentally sent your mum a text meant for your therapist.
False.
You secretly think you could win Bake Off, but worry that if you entered, you'd not be able to resist the charms of Paul Hollywood.
False.
Your most embarrassing moment happened on stage during a stand-up set.
Is this what I think it is?
It's a true or false question, Grace.
No, because it happened before a set.
What happened?
I'm not telling you because I don't think I've ever told that story.
Can you tell me after?
Yeah, I'll tell you after.
You have once ghosted someone just because they used the wrong emoji in a text.
True. He kept using an emoji which was really bugging me. It was the twisted laughing face. I like the straight laughing face with the face horizontal.
If you weren't doing stand-up, you'd be a private investigator because of how good your powers of internet stalking are.
True.
You've considered going on Love Island.
False.
They've asked you to go on Love Island.
False.
You'd like to go on Love Island.
False.
I think we're done out here.
Can I take that off?
Leave that on. And if you could just look in that camera and say goodbye and wave. Can we do a wave? Can we get a wave?
Goodbye.
I was like a normal person.
Goodbye.